So if you guys don't know, there was some really ugly Twitter drama that happened yesterday, and I really think it's important for me to comment on this. I'm not going to be monetizing this video because I don't want to be making any money off of this, but because I've been in the unique situation of where I've kind of experienced both ends of this kind of a problem, I think that I can maybe provide a unique perspective. So if you guys didn't know, yesterday there was some no-name guy that tweeted, I guess I'll find the screenshot here from Flats' video. Nobody I know, just every big Overwatch streamer just totally moved on, huh? He says, we don't talk about Overwatch here anymore. Dang, bro, my bad for asking. Kind of makes J3 look bad here. And then Jay is going to respond here, and I have no recollection of this. Guess I'm the bad guy now anyways, whatever. And there's a lot of people that were basically, long story short, turns out that the guy, this isn't actually what happened. Jay was talking in chat, match chat to somebody in game, wasn't even responding to this person. So I assume was just a total misunderstanding or just this guy's lying about it. But then J3 responds and this guy doubles down and says, oh, well, your Twitch chat was harassing me. And turns out one of J3's mods has the receipts and turns out the guy's lying. And then long story short, this guy ends up deleting his account. So, it's a big, ugly mess. This guy's a liar and he's antagonizing and stirring up drama and picking on J3. And this guy's livelihood is streaming. And, what a turd that guy is. In a way, Jay, why are you sending your entire community after this no-name 70 follower nobody? And, you look like an ass, bro. What's wrong with you? Typical Overwatch streamer. And the really ugly thing about this is actually not these two people necessarily, although we'll get to a little bit of that. It's actually the community's response because, because it's typical Marvel Rivals versus Overwatch. J3 is streaming Marvel Rivals. Everyone's throwing in their garbage, just throwing crap in, feces and garbage and trash and insulting and personal insults and comparing the game again in the comments and typical Overwatch entitled or typical Rivals brain. It's just oh gosh, here we go again. Just so stupid tribalism over a game. But it got even deeper than that. People were going really personal for this guy, this no-namer. And then people were going really personal for Jay. A lot of people completely unrelated to the drama going in there and getting personal with him. Even some other streamers and names in the community going after Jay. Antagonizing him, saying a lot of really nasty stuff in the replies. The original tweet, Jay was just getting absolutely cooked. And I want to point out why this stuff really matters. This guy tweeted some random interaction to his tiny little following. And because it was controversial or a little bit negative, he didn't expect anybody else to see this. This is like me walking down the street and downtown, wherever, and saying, oh man, Michael Jordan's so freaking overrated. Somebody overhears me and they tell their friend, and all of a sudden Michael Jordan's knocking on my door, right? This guy has no intention of this going bigger than where I am. And the same thing goes for Jay. Jay wakes up, and when Jay actually responded, a lot of people don't know this, when Jay responded, the initial tweet had already had over 1 million views and 20,000 likes, and people were roasting him in the replies. So imagine you're a professional, or just even you right now. Imagine waking up first thing in the morning, and somebody just makes up a really negative interaction with you, or misunderstands and makes a really negative interaction about you, and people are all trashes you, not purposefully, and then everybody in the comments go, oh yeah, this guy sucks, this guy sucks, this guy sucks, and bro, how would you feel being put in that situation? So now we have two people that just a simple misunderstanding, and then he gets put under pressure. Wait, no, that didn't actually happen. Oh, and then he doubles down. I mean, it's just an awful situation, all the whole. And the ugly thing about this, and this is kind of why I'm here, is that it's the people lampooning, just going all in without really knowing the full situation. Trashing on J3 personally, trashing on this guy personally. Yeah, he shouldn't have lied. Yeah, Jay probably shouldn't have responded in the way that he did. But also, Jay isn't a politician, guys. Jay's a streamer, right? I've had the opportunity to get to meet and talk with Jay. He's a really nice guy. When I spent time, first time I actually met Jay, we were in Toronto for the Overwatch League Grand Finals, the final season. And the guy literally was missing games, and he basically was spending hours meeting and greeting and taking pictures and signing autographs for a lot of people. There's a freaking line, and the guy was super polite, super friendly to everybody. Went out of his way to just be nice to all of his fans, and there was a lot of them, and at the expense of his own enjoyment of the event. And that's who he is. Now, is Jay perfect? No, I think Jay later on in the tweets gets a little bit more antagonized from more people antagonizing them and responds in some ugly ways. Again, though, but these are people that continue to dogpile him. I'm not going to even give these people attention. If you want to find them, you can. There's some just turds in there that are going out of their way to go after the guy, and then he responds in an also turd-like manner. But long story short, it's Jay got freaking antagonized, and people went after him and his livelihood personally. And then this random no-name guy, he didn't intend to draw a lot of attention to himself. He didn't intend to pick on Jay. He didn't intend to make this a big dramatic deal. And yet here we are. And I'm not going to blame the algorithm and social media. And like that goes without saying. But I'm going to blame you guys. Because this is the exact situation where you just shut your mouth and don't put in your 2 cents. Again, I've experienced both sides of this, actually. A long time ago, this was probably 4 or 5 years ago, I was coaching for Uprising Academy, and we were terrible. We were really bad. We'd done a terrible job building the roster. It wasn't all my responsibility. I'm not going to take all responsibility for that, but I should have been a better coach given the situation, and we just didn't do a great job. I worked really hard. I was really burned out. I was working 90-hour weeks. You can make a lot of excuses about the situation, but the case was we were bad. Long story short, I was at the Boston Uprising team facility and watching a lot of scrimmages. At the time, there was an Orisa Rhine meta on certain 2CP maps. So basically, it was like a brawl composition where you used your halt and your combos instead of running like Rhine Diva or whatever. It was like a weird composition. Long story short, that was kind of meta for a while, and then some teams started to drift back towards Rhine Diva, but a lot of top tier teams were using Rhine Orisa in scrims, including the San Francisco Shock, who were one of the best teams at the time. You guys might have heard of a streamer named Avast. He used to do a lot of co-streaming, a lot of Overwatch League. I think he was the social sir. Shoot, who was it? Maybe you guys can remember. NRG. I don't remember who it was. Long story short, big streamer, big content creator, a lot bigger than I even am now. And long story short, Avast talked about how moronic the Boston Uprising, who were not good that year, were for running Rhine Orisa. That composition's dead. Nobody plays anymore. Well, I'd been watching scrims that day and the day before, watched several top teams, including the Shock, playing versus Boston, playing that exact same composition on several maps. So in some Reddit thread on competitive Overwatch, which I talked with a lot, the bottom of the Reddit thread, somebody asked something about that. And I was like, well, Avast may not know, because I didn't know who Avast was at the time. Avast may not know, but this is why we were running things. Like and I could basically explain the composition. I don't remember how I phrased it. I probably phrased it in a condescending way because I didn't know who Avast was. I thought it was just some Twitter dude, right? And long story short, somebody linked that to Avast. So then Avast ats me publicly on Twitter with his massive following, puts me on public blast, basically calls me a moron. I know better. I'm friends with all these Overwatch League players. What do you know about? What are you talking about? And I don't think again, were his intentions malicious? I don't think so, right? But I had a lot of nasty people in my Discord and my Twitter messages, Twitter message requests, my replies, people harassing me for weeks, right? And that really made me mad. That really, really upset me, right? Now, I didn't look at it from a Avast perspective. I didn't know who he was. I didn't intend to be negative. I didn't intend for him to see it, right? I didn't know who he was. And of course, it hurt his feelings, right? It was I'm still right. Frick you, Avast. But I don't think he intended for me to get witch hunted in the way that I did. I'm not going to hold that against him, even if I may have done so at the time. I've also been on the other side of things. And I think this is important too. So I've not only been that little no-name guy that got cooked unintentionally, I've also been the other side of things. I remember when the 66 test went live. So this was this past December. Marvel Rivals was starting. So I was trying to do Marvel Rivals content, which was planned. Hazard had just been released. And so I was grinding Hazard because I have to coach new characters in Overwatch. So I have to spend a lot of time playing them. I was really sick for a week. I was out of town, holidays. And frankly, I'd already done a lot of 66 content leading up to that. So I didn't have as much time or want to spend as much time in the 66 test. And like I said, my schedule was completely booked out. Well, long story short, there were a lot of angry people in my YouTube comments and Twitter replies about me not playing the 66 test on release as much as they thought I would. I mean, people putting their own set of expectations on me. And then there was one Twitter reply, and I could even pull it up. And the guy insinuated that I was shilling or taking advantage of people, basically stealing people's money, baiting them into the 66 test and not even playing it. That like I owed them that, and that there's something really shady going on, and there's something like I'm stealing. Anyway, it really ticked me off. Like I'm a tiny, micro celebrity, so I have a little bit of a responsibility to communicate well. But I'm not like I was irritated, right? Guy questioned my integrity publicly, and so I quote tweeted him. And I said, look at this moron. Look at it, not literally, but I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, I've done this. I can't do every single thing all the time. I've been doing this, and this. I've been deathly ill, been sick, I've been out of town. It's freaking Christmas, like Eve. You know what I'm saying? Like, give me a break. This is like, I'm actually taking time off with my family. I'm already grinding Hazard. I'm already grinding Marvel Rivals. I don't owe you anything. I've already done all the 66 content. What kind of a moron are you? Well, I was like, I really don't appreciate you insinuating that there's something malicious about what I'm doing. It was a really stupid message from him, right? Really stupid reply. And he goes, whatever, long story short, so everyone's, of course, cooking him. I don't think anybody went after him, but maybe they did. Who knows? I don't have near as big of a following as some of these guys. And then basically he goes, wow, you're going to put me on public quote tweet like that. Like, your following's way bigger than mine. Like, this is kind of... And, I thought about it and I was like, yeah, yeah, that wasn't great. Maybe. So I actually ended up deleting the tweet, and I messaged him and I said, I deleted the tweet on Twitter. And I said, that's my bad for quoting you. I said, I still stand by what I said. You shouldn't have done that. That was really rude of you. And to insinuate all that, it's horrible. Like, come on, man. Like, what's wrong with you? But I shouldn't put you in public blast using the following that I have. I was an emotional, angry response at you and questioning my integrity. And long story short, we had a really nice conversation. He apologized. I apologized. Turns out he's a nice guy. And he just misunderstood and yeah, maybe it was a moment of weakness for him too. Maybe he shouldn't have done that on Twitter, right? But that's the exact same mistake that I did. And so ultimately, like, this isn't some evil liar. This isn't some psychopath. I'm not some evil, like, intergalactic social media warlord using my community, my little community against everybody. It's just a freaking misunderstanding that's typical over social media. And my point being, I guess, wrapping this all up here is that I've been on both sides of the equation here. I've been the guy that I didn't make up anything, okay, to be fair, right? But I don't think the guy necessarily deserves to be, I don't like assuming the worst, right? Maybe he misunderstood, maybe he misremembered, or whatever. We don't really know. But the point being is that I don't think he necessarily deserved or even wanted it to blow up in the way that it did. And J3 certainly doesn't deserve the hate that he's getting. I mean, you can go into Twitter right now and everyone's acting like he's like, I hate to use this term, but they're gaslighting. Why are you acting like the victim here? Are you reading the replies? I guess the tweet isn't there anymore, so you can't really see the replies anymore. But there were some really nasty things being said in there. Oh, you're the victim now. Yes, he is a victim. This is his job. This is his image. Imagine somebody just woke up and called you a shill and a moron. And you're bald and stupid and ugly and like what is wrong with you? And that to me, I guess, to wrap this up, is like, that's the ugly thing for me. Like, you can't do that to somebody. I don't care if they're a public figure or not. Like, especially a public figure that is just a game streamer, guys. Like, this is not some politician that's doing something evil or corrupt. This is a streamer guy. And again, as somebody who's been very nice. And I think there was also extrapolated even bigger than that, because we now have people like Flats, who are personal friends of Jay and have known him for years, stepping in and defending Jay after the tweet had already blown up, millions of views. Oh, well, yeah, now the content creators are ganging on. No, they're not. They're personal friends. Flats, and people are rude with Flats too. Flats is the guy that went out of his way. He sat down with a 2-hour call for me and gave me some content advice not long ago. No payment, nothing asked, no barter, just did it because he was nice. Took the time out of his very busy schedule to help me out. And we're not even like the closest of buddies. I mean, we've known each other for some time, but like, these people aren't perfect. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect, but it's really unfair, I think, the community's response to really both of these situations. I think the guy deserved to be, you got to post receipts, but also at the same time, he's not evil. He's just a misunderstanding and or exaggeration. Okay? Jay's not evil. And I think this is the ugly thing. And I see this all the time. Whenever something questionable gets, oh, look, that guy did that, or this guy did that, everybody in the replies comes up with the receipts. Yeah, I always knew that guy was a scumbag. Typical Jay behavior. I remember this is a bit more of a serious situation, but I'm not going to even mention the name. The whole situation was super ugly. There was a well-known content creator in the Overwatch community that was falsely accused of pedophilia, and basically was proven wrong. And ended up really screwing with him, and he ended up pushing through it and kind of proving it wrong. And then it was literally just some teenage kid making it up, the guy that accused him, just for giggles. And the guy deletes his Twitter and never heard from him again, and there's no consequences for doing that whatsoever. Aside from that, though, the most ugly thing about that situation, because yeah, teenager, that's a weird behavior from that. It was like some dude, right? Psycho behavior, right? But the worst part of that was seeing, I still remember the day that it happened, because I couldn't believe it. I was like, man, really? No way, right? The replies in it was Twitter or whatever, of people, friends, and people within the community that didn't take any time to check receipts or wait or check in or just random people. Oh, I always knew that guy. What a creep. I knew it. And they're dragging all the mud and the crap out. And the community, I would say it's an Overwatch community problem, but it's not. This is just a people problem. We love to be like, haha, yeah, we got him. Yeah, we got him. We are so happy for drama and ugliness and humanity's depravity that we're excited. It makes us excited. It makes us happy. This has happened before with me. I remember even a couple of the Overwatch League, when Overwatch League players, they said this or they did this. The glee and the replies from people that are so glad to say, I told you so, or so glad to see the negative aspects of humanity, that to me is the ugliness. And in this whole drama, which is just a really amplified, ugly misunderstanding between two people that don't even know each other, the ugliest part is the community's response. And that to me is just depressing. I mean, there's even people within the Overwatch community that have gotten further involved. They didn't even have to say anything. Oh, yeah, well, about, and they're making these uneducated statements to their communities. And I just think that that's just so silly. That's just so stupid. I don't really know where to finish this up. But my point being is that like this. Don't assume the worst immediately about people. Don't hold it against people when they defend themselves, but also be very careful about not assuming the worst about other people. And I think Jay could have learned from this. I think the person that initially tweeted could have learned from this. I hope that I'm never put in the same position that Jay is put in, to where I have to defend myself publicly versus something like that. And I hope that if I do, that I'm able to respond with as much grace as that I can muster. But I'm also not going to pretend that, it's significantly better and that I would have been way nicer, way more professional. I don't know. I've already been put in a similar situation and I wasn't perfectly professional about it. It sucks. It sucks all around. And I guess I challenge you guys, if you ever see these kind of things, hold off. Reserve judgment, research the full thing. You don't need to open your mouth. So many people fishing for clout. It's just one of the most disgusting aspects of human nature is right there. And it's really just comes out of nowhere. And of course, because it was Overwatch versus Marvel Rivals, man, there's even more baggage behind that. That was half the comments. So long story short, be nice, be respectful, treat each other with dignity. Don't assume the worst about people immediately. Take your time to research it better. And the other thing too is when people make a mistake, even if they actually did something they shouldn't, because I do think that Jay later on probably said some things later on as the drama evolved that he probably shouldn't have. And I'd tell that to his face, Jay, if you're watching this, you shouldn't have said those things. You probably shouldn't have done those things. You know that. But at the same time, Jay is not an evil guy. Jay has done so many nice things that I'm not even a close friend of him that I've known about. And I think that that's the key thing. That's the key thing, okay? People make mistakes. Just because we're community members or leads, I've made mistakes. I've said stupid things, right? I've done stupid things. You have said stupid things. You have done stupid things. Cut people some slack. Hold people accountable to their actions as necessary. Doesn't mean that we just let everything slide, of course. But at the same time, everyone makes mistakes. And if you need to really make sure, the community is so happy to throw stones. So happy to throw stones. We all watch the movies. We all see the TV shows and read the books where we see that ugly aspect of humanity. And we go, man, yeah, people are terrible. At least that's not me. And then we do the exact same thing ourselves. Be better. Be better.